I get to a lot of math classes, and I don't see enough of these things. Exactly. I sit in classes sometimes where they're like, calculate a slope, and the kid's like,
I feel like in a perfect world, I wish that every student had one person who could just focus on them and their career. But the reality is that it's not like that. And I think just encouraging adults and professionals out there to have those conversations with youth, even if they're in high school.
The last iron pour that we did was at the high school, was at ETHS, right?
Yep.
We the first year we did it on the Northwestern campus, and then we started doing it. Outside the stadium. Of course, now with the stadium rebuild, we lost our spot, and so the high school was generous enough, thank you, to loan us a parking lot for a weekend. And I want to build.
They haven't talked to the insurance company yet. Go ahead.
I figured we did it once. We can do it again.
Exactly.
All right, is that good?
Yeah. Can everybody hear everybody?
I can hear.
I can hear it.
Good.
I can hear it. Yeah.
Good.
Oh, we are pros.
You guys are pros.
No joke.
This is cool.
I mean, so we were having a great conversation, Pat, before you came in.
Right. Oh, okay. All right. Well,
We were talking.
I can leave.
I mean, I did yoga today. I'm off to a good start.
no,
man. I
not
did
yoga again.
15 minutes of yoga, 5:30 in the morning. I can only do 20. I was running behind. So I brought this in and I scared everybody. Pat.
What was that?
This is my version of. I wrote
Those
some
are all the other questions.
questions.
All the prep that we just did is gone.
All the prep is gone because I'm gonna riff. I don't prep for these things. Just make stuff up.
Clearly.
Clearly.
That was yours.
So Pat, you're wearing a hat.
I'm wearing a hat. Are we good?
Are we good?
Are we mobile?
Are we mobile? We running?
We're mobile.
All right. What do you got, man? Carpenter's hat.
It was
What's
a
up
good
with
week.
that?
You know, we had Rob Piani with the Carpenters Union came in, and a few weeks ago and said the 4 that we've placed at Ryan Field are working. We could use 4 more, and 4 more were just selected. So they're going to be apprentices in the Carpenters Union at Ryan Field. So they're going to be building a stadium in their community, and it's just kind of unusual that it's a fast track for these young people to be able to get this. And we had 18 kids come in, and it was just, yesterday I was just crying. It was just like to see these kids' lives are changed. The potential for them, if it works and they work, it's just great. So, there's just so many people to thank. I mean, the Mayor Biss was really instrumental in that. The Ryan family set the standard and kind of have really kind of demanded that this project be good for our community and through workforce. And so, I love it when it comes together, right? I mean, we talked about this. Otherwise, it's a hollow promise from everybody. This makes it real. Yeah,
it impacts lives, and it's huge.
Yeah.
So that's why you have your Carpenters Local 58. You're not going to apprentice over there?
I don't think they want a 57-year-old dude.
Here we go. Here we go.
How about you? What was going on for you this week? What's going on at the high school?
What's going on at the high school? Well, we got a cold day tomorrow. We got a really cold day in town, and we are going to do e-learning, remote learning tomorrow. It's going to be below 0.
Kind of back to COVID days.
Yeah, I'm getting twitching over that. It's horrible.
Right.
But yeah, we can't have the kids out in the street walking to school, waiting for the bus, and when it's 0, and then like 20 below wind chill. I mean, cold is cold, but come on, this is pretty brutal. Yeah. So that happened. A lot of other cool stuff. I think we're working on getting a car up at the high school into the main area of the high school. Well, that's just a fascinating project in and of itself.
To promote Automotive Month.
Automotive Month. So that's really, really great. Yeah. So just in general, like a typical week. We got a car coming in. We got, a freezing cold weather. And we're still running a school. Yeah. I did get into some math classes, which was pretty cool. I love getting into math classes. So that was a lot of fun. But what are we doing today?
So I think today we want to talk about how to ignite. It's kind of like finding your why. When Rob Piani and the Carpenters Union came in, we had 18 kids in here. There were clearly some kids that knew they wanted to be carpenters. And then there were some other kids in the 18 plus category who kind of are still like, I don't know. I want a job. I want to go work somewhere, but. And I guess our role and our thought here at the Trade Collective is how do we get to a kid when they're a freshman or a sophomore to light a fire, and then how do we embrace that? So if a young person says, I want to work on trains or I want to be, electrician, first of all, how do we explore? And you all are two really, talented people to help us think this through. So, Rosabel, you work at the high school. And Matthew, you're a professor at Northwestern, but your brain works in weird ways.
And I've had 2 kids go through ETHS, so the place has meant a lot to me.
Good. So let's just start there. We're here to find our why, and that means how do we excite people? How can we excite people? We don't have all the answers here, so we're coming to you to sort of say how do we excite people? Is that a good start, Pete?
Yeah, I think it works for me.
Okay, good.
I love that.
Good.
Yeah, let's do
So,
it.
Rosabel, let's start
Jump
with
in.
you. Who are you? Let's start there. I think you're amazing. The work that we've done with you so far in the short term, you've just been a real lightning rod and just a real consistent partner with us. So, who are you? Where are you from? How did you find yourself in Evanston?
Yeah, so most people know me as Rosie. So you'll hear my nickname like going around. They're like, "Hi, Rosie," and they're like, "Who's Rosie?" Oh, that's Rosabel. So I'm a first generation low income student coming from South Central Los Angeles. I applied to the Posse Scholarship. I'm not sure if you guys. Are familiar
I
with
know the Posse. That's an awesome foundation. Very cool.
So I kind of didn't know about Northwestern and what Northwestern had to offer until I did the scholarship, and then I researched all the institutions, and Northwestern was one of the ones that stood out to me the most. And I was like, wait, like this has a lot of programs that could offer me opportunity and allow me to like pursue goals that I have now. So I decided to make it my first choice, my second choice, and my third choice. And I was like, I'm not going to any other school if it's not this school. And
You didn't visit in January.
I did not. I did not, but they did prepare me regarding the code, and they were like, it's gonna be code. But yeah, no, the first winter I was here, they were like, that's the code you're wearing for winter? And I was like, yeah. And my Chicagoan friends was like, no, let's go shopping right now. This is not gonna do it. I was like, okay. But yeah, so I came into Northwestern pre-med, biology major, and then I was like, oh, I don't like this. So I started changed majors like 6 times. And then I ended up in CESP, so School of Education and Social Policy, the School of Education and Social Policy. And then, I just was exploring different majors. And then I had some professors who really stood out to me and made me see education in a different setting. And like, I started mentoring on my free time and started like working with a lot of youth. And I was like, oh my God, I love doing this. I was like, this was a hobby, but I think I could make it my career. So I started pursuing that, majored in human development and context, and then global health studies, because I also wanted to be an advocate and just be around the community and try to do those things at the same time.
And so how does that get you to the high school?
So I did NUPIP, so the Northwestern Public Interest Program. And they partner up with so many organizations, specifically nonprofit around Chicago and Evanston. And I did a couple interviews, but I really wanted ETHS College and Career Services. So I did the interview. I was really nervous. I think I thought I did terrible, but I think my interviewers thought otherwise because I'm here. And I got the position, and that was like my happiest moment because I was like, this is really gonna define whether this is a career I want to continue and pursue. So far, yes, I love students. I love changing their lives, mentoring them, but also inspiring them and having conversations with them about what they want to pursue.
So what is your role at the high school then?
Yeah, so I'm a fellow at the early college and experiences, college and career experiences. So I work with college and career services, but I'm specifically with a small team that works specifically on career exploration and things like that.
Great. Let's pause that for a minute. You wanna? You're gonna be the one to tackle this guy.
I'll tackle this guy. We're ready. So Matthew,
on a short leash.
where are you from?
I'll give you two answers.
All
I'll
right.
give you the simple answer and the fun answer. The short answer, was born and raised in Grand Rapids, Michigan, so right around the lake, and have been in Evanston for about the last 19 years. Live in South Evanston with my wife and dog. Our two kids are off in college.
Nice.
And the more fun answer is, and this is what Patrick said, my brain works in funny ways. Like the answer that I love and that I tell my students all the time is like, I'm from the stars.
Hey.
Wow, see that gets not on the list. We're doing that now, right?
Because,
that's great.
Because we had
That's
the
great.
Big Bang, and then the stars started to
do their
fusion
thing.
all these elements, and it got to. So I do iron pours at the high school.
Yeah.
We're going to get to this later, but the stars, as they're fusing, these massive stars get to the element of iron in the core, and then they explode, and all of the other elements are formed, and everything that's in us and around us, and these microphones and the tables and all of the materials that all of the students who get internships from the Trade Collective through the Trade Collective are going to work on are all these materials from stars. So we're just like material playing with material. How about that?
Wow.
Where are you going with that one?
Where am I going with material? Playing with material. So where'd you go to college? No, I'm not going there. Okay, that's unique, right? That's like a full circle. I feel like I'm in a...
I'll help you out a little.
Help me out. Give me throw me a lifeline.
So name the collectives. So we've got pipe fitters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've got automotive. We've got electrical. We've
Manufacturing.
got plumbing. We've got HVAC. One way to think about every one of those collectives is that we need people in our society, this built society, to help us move materials from one place to another. Are we moving water from here to there? We need pipe fitters, we need plumbers. Are we moving electrons
here to
from
there?
one place to another?
Yeah.
Are we moving heat, HVAC, of course, heat molecules. And landscaping, moving earth. So every skilled trade, in one way or another, you can think of as playing with material and learning the tools and the techniques and the processes by which we can collaborate with nature to build things.
Wait.
Yeah.
You have parents, right? Who are probably rational people, right? You're taking us from the stars. Let's get back to the
Okay.
You're from Michigan, got it.
Grand
but go
Rapids.
back to where do you come from to get the permission to talk like this?
The stars.
Where did your permission come from? Because a lot of what we need to talk about here is giving people permission.
Agreed.
Right? And green lights can happen, right?
Yeah.
What gave you the permission to come into this place and talk about the stars?
It took me a long time. It took me a long time. Growing up in Western Michigan, I was very academically focused. So I was good at math and science. And when you're good at math and science in my community, and for whatever reason, my own maybe self-selection into exposure into the arts or anything other than kind of the engineering field just wasn't really part of my early development. And I kind of felt at a young age like there were a lot of problems in the world, and the problems were going to be solved by scientists and engineers, and not by artists or philosophers or people looking at the stars and dreaming, right? And then I ended up in college, and I had a pretty severe health scare. Ended up, I won't go into details, but ended up, with facing issues of mortality and losing my invincibility of youth
At a young age.
At a young age, it was the type of experience where I look back now. You were saying earlier, you only understand things in retrospect. At this point, I wouldn't trade that experience for the world, because it gave me permission. There's your word. It gave me permission to just look around and get curious at the things that I was naturally curious about. So that's one answer to the question. I can come back to that. You know, it wasn't a direct line, but that's the first answer.
So, in terms of your curiosity, right, I'm looking at the table. This stuff normally isn't on the table. This art. What am I looking? I'm looking at a lot of geometry.
Yeah.
I'm looking at. What am I looking at?
Yeah.
Walk me through some of this. I mean, somewhere start.
And Rosabel, if you have any questions, jump in because I already do. But we're in this conversation. This
I'm
is
curious.
a conversation with all of us.
Yeah.
As you were talking about your background, I was getting curious. So after the podcast, maybe during the podcast, but afterwards, I have a lot of conversations I'd like to have with you. Okay, so on the table, especially for folks who are just listening to this, there are a handful of things. Some of them are just magnetic geometric toys that you can use to build shapes. This particular brand is called Magformers.
Okay.
And you can make cubes, and you can make
Play with it.
tetrahedron, you can play. And I had an opportunity. The reason that these are on the table was because I'm going to sort of tell things out of order maybe, but I had the opportunity to do some collaborations with the Museum of Science and Industry.
Okay.
Actually pre-pandemic, so it was a few years back. Now the Griffin Museum of Science and Industry. In the collaboration, there was a bit of sort of an artist in residence role. It was very informal, but that was the role. And the idea was, could I use art and curiosity to expand the idea of self-selection for people coming to a museum of science, right? So one of the things that I did that I'm probably most proud of during that time was they have a great exhibit and have on numbers in nature and where geometry and numbers appear in the natural world. But from everything I do, I love hands-on things. And so I reached out to this toy company and I said, hey, and again, a calling card, hey, I'm the artist in residence at the Museum of Science and Industry. I'd love to do a collaboration with you. Would you send me some toys? And they gave an inch and I asked for a mile, and 2 pallets of boxes showed up in front of my house.
In front of your house?
For your house?
Off of like a semi truck. And
Yeah,
my
we're
wife,
in
my
suburban
wife was
Evanston.
just-
South Evanston. You were that guy?
And
Heard about that.
And so after I unpacked them all, we filled a room at the Museum of Science and Industry with like 15,000 of these.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And, one of the things that I'm so excited about what we're all doing here, and Patrick, what you started here at the Trade Collective, is the bringing people together and the bringing people together of multiple generations. Because in this room, it was really cool. And I've got all these photographs that I cherish of little kids, high school students, infants, parents, grandparents, all just sitting on the floor together, playing with geometric toys. And
What's the benefit for that, though? I mean, like, where does that go? I know you have an answer for that, but what's the why?
let me turn it back.
Okay.
So why? What do you think is the value of doing that, or to any of you?
Well,
Man, I have an answer, but I want to hear Pat's answer.
I
You got an answer, Rosie?
personally, for me, as a person who's really anxious, I think like things like this for people who like are really anxious could really like benefit from it. Like even just building it, I think it helped me a lot. And I dropped one in the beginning, and I had to rebuild it. It helped.
Yeah.
So I think mental health, like resources. For sure.
I get to a lot of math classes, and I don't see enough of these things.
Exactly.
I sit in classes sometimes where they're like, calculate a slope. And the kid's like, And the teacher will say something like, rise over run. And I'm like, oh. Or a geometry class, which is completely like, 2-dimensional flat. But I think there's creativity in play. And there's also hardcore concepts that can come out of it, right? like if you have constraints, you can be more creative and you can discover things. I mean, I go back to like geometry is a compass, right? All the rules could be derived from a compass and a ruler. The whole thing.
Yeah, compass and straight edge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so I think of that when I think of kids playing. And I also think like when you talk about generational piece, how awesome is it to have those generations engaged in something creative, fun, that's exploratory. And I'm sure there were lots, I'm sure if you looked in that room, there were a lot of smiles.
Completely.
Right?
Well, I have to qualify that. There were mostly smiles, but there were a few parents who walked into this room with their kids and their kids' jaws hit the floor and their eyes got real big. And the kids were, and the adults, I know they're like, oh, crap. We came here to spend a couple hours at the museum and we're going to spend the next 2 hours in this room.
That would have been my kids. And I love that.
But you're right, there were a lot of smiles.
Yeah. And I mean, that just gets me thinking about like when I hear you, Patrick, talk about the Carpenters Union and the opportunity for the alumni 18 to 24. And like, I bet there were smiles there. And I bet, Rosie, when you're doing your work, there's a lot of like joy in the work. And that's something I think gets lost sometimes is the joy aspect. So if you think about it, because I know you were smiling about, I love to work with kids, love to help kids, love to support them. Talk to me about like the joy that work brings the students when you connect them to an opportunity.
Yeah. So usually I have them come to me and they're like, hey, I'm interested in this. Do you have opportunities in this career field? And like this year, I purposely did not put the organizations in the application process because I was like, I want you to just focus on
For the internship program or what?
For the IKIT,
For the IKIT
job shadow program and during spring break.
Yeah.
I just want them to focus on telling me a little bit about themselves and what they are passionate about. And based on their application and their description, I will match them on an opportunity that really fits them and that could benefit them from learning from a career path in general. So some of them have came to me and they're like, hey, are you still working with this organization? Because they have done it previously. And I was like, yes, but you have to wait until the interview for me to tell you. Just focus on what you're really passionate about. If you're passionate about the trades, tell me what type of trades you're passionate about. Go more in depth into a description of what you enjoy doing. And then we could talk about it later. So I do see joy.
Part of what I keep thinking about, and I worry for the high school, I think kids hear something. I hear a lot of kids talking about they want to be electricians, but I don't think they've ever experienced it.
Exactly.
I think they've gotten some TikTok thing or something came across their plate. How do you think we could, and I think this is the finding the why. How do you find your why? How do you discover what it is that talks about stars or they get you bumped around to find it, right?
Yeah.
You experimented. Talk about experimenting or the allowance. High school should be the time where kids are trying things and testing things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think starting with conversation and with professionals that are part of that field. I think a lot of interest in careers happen in those conversations and they're like, wait, so you do this? So how do you do this? And then they're like, oh, wait, that's so cool. Can we talk a little bit more about it? And I think that's where the interest sparks. And they're like, yeah, I like that. Wait, can we talk more about it? Like what companies do this? But I think there isn't enough one-on-one mentorship. I feel like in a perfect world, I wish that every student had one person who could just focus on them and their career. But the reality is that it's not like that. And I think just encouraging adults and professionals out there to have those conversations with youth, even if they're in high school.
Yeah.
Those conversations are important. Even in college, they're important. Like even undergraduates who are in college and already kind of have an idea of what they want to pursue, having those opportunities in high school. Like if they want to talk to our high school students, inviting them into schools. I think a lot of the benefits have came through that. Like there's a few panels that we have had at Northwestern where we bring guest speakers to talk. And students ask amazing questions because they have never heard of this career before. And they didn't know it was possible to do a career in that way.
So that's a challenge to the parents in our community and the professionals to think about leaning forward and joining with us in this conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
What are you thinking, Matt?
I mean, I was just hearing you say how great would it be if every student had a mentor, but that's not possible. And so I'm just going to hit the pause button and say, well, why isn't that possible? How many students do we have at ETHS right now?
3,600.
And how many people do we have at population in Evanston?
77,000. So you could run the number for me, but I think I think we can solve that problem.
I'm just saying.
They can actually have multiple.
Just saying. And that's the other thing about that. You know, getting a room full of multi-generational, getting a multi-generational room is that it's one thing for a mentor to give a gift to, a young person. But at the same time, there are a lot of people, myself included, who are going to say an age, or we were joking before about whether or not, to ask the question, how old we are.
How old are you?
A bunch of people in their 50s, I'm just saying, who are trying to figure out how to give back.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if the community can get connected, it's a gift that students can give adults to create some give back opportunities.
And it's super unique too, right? It's 77,000 adults. You got 3,600 kids. You can't scale that in Chicago, but you could certainly scale it in Evanston.
Matthew, iron pores. You talked about iron pores.
Yeah.
I know this is a huge passion of yours. What is an iron pore? Why do you care about it?
Yeah.
What happens when people are watching this or experiencing it?
Yeah.
What is an iron pore?
Yeah, so I got introduced to the concept about 10 years ago. First of all, iron pour is an event at which a group of people get together, build or erect a furnace, get that furnace up to about 3,000 degrees, and then melt iron and liquefy it. Get the iron to a liquid state, and then pour that liquid iron into molds that have been created. These molds are either designed to create functional objects, or like a frying pan, or they're designed to make sculpture, or anything in between, just experiments. And so I had the opportunity about 9 years ago. I probably started teaching at Northwestern about 10 years ago, just as adjunct faculty, but I started teaching computer-aided design because that was sort of my expertise. I skipped some parts in between, but after college, I taught myself how to 3D model on computers. And part of the reason was because it's a good skill when you want to work in the manufacturing industry. And part of the reason is I developed this love for geometry, and I wanted to, play with geometry with my computer. But so in any case, I started teaching computer-aided design, and that went well. And I had known folks in the administration just from being in Evanston. And I had the opportunity to design a class in the manufacturing program. There's a wonderful manufacturing program at Northwestern called Manufacturing and Design Engineering, MADE. It's in the Siegel Design Institute. And I knew the director, David Gatchell.
Oh, you know David?
I know David. So David and I co-teach this class.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm feeling your pain a little bit right now because we have a class in the morning and we just decided to switch it to remote. This is by Zoom.
Yeah.
Again, for the same reasons. Yeah. But so David, shout out to you if you hear this. And I said, back when I was in college, there are most of my classes, you were talking about like rise over run over rise, formula. I don't remember that.
Of course
stuff,
not.
Right? But there are some things that I will remember the rest of my life.
Yes.
Like never forget. And usually they were project based. Usually they were, something physical.
Authentic.
Right?
No, for real. Not a fake project, but a real project.
Authentic project.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference, and kids can tell.
Completely. The year before, I had seen an iron pour at outside of a public museum, and it was so compelling. Like if you see liquid iron glowing like the sun.
Sounds compelling already.
I said to the administration, I said, I said, well, why don't I teach students, geometry, because that's one of my passions. And there is geometry inside of a piece of iron. In the iron is a crystal. There's a geometric pattern made up of cubes. But then let me teach them some skills, some computer-aided design skills, and we will design molds together. And then it's actually possible to take a computer model and then have it 3D printed in sand.
Oh.
Which is not on the radar of most people. Most people, when they think of 3D printing, they think of little plastic parts in your library. This is 3D printed. I happen to have a piece. So for the camera, this is a block of 3D printed sand with the Evanston logo, and so that's what we did in this course. The students got to learn CAD, got to 3D print molds and clean them, and then got to assemble a furnace. Now a very, very close buddy of mine who I'd sort of pulled in to run the thing, Lloyd Mandelbaum, I'll shout out as well, of Chicago Crucible, enabled the students to have hands-on experience building this furnace or assembling the furnace over the course of a weekend, and then sorting out, pieces of iron, and then breaking down pieces of coke, which is like a refined coal. Right. And firing up this furnace and learning the process of running a furnace. And then they got to, in teams of 2, get on either end of a ladle and be 3 feet away from this liquid metal and pour their own sculptures. And their eyes were gigantic.
So wait a minute. Okay, so like Burning Man jokes aside.
Yeah.
There is no way that anyone has experiences like that at NU outside of this. That's wild.
Yeah. This is
in higher ed. It's why. Yeah. Because I would imagine, and this is what I heard years ago when we did STEAM design thinking innovation at the high school, was the kids are good on the books, but they're not good with fabricating. You're not good with the design process. So we invested in that kind of strategy, right? Get kids human-centered design.
Yeah.
I would imagine the students you have at Northwestern aren't particularly skilled at what you're talking about.
Okay,
which I think is awesome in a way.
Let me put a pin in that for a second and go back to something that Patrick and I have talked about as well. Redirect me if this is out of line or off path or whatnot. But here at the Trade Collective, we are exposing students to skilled trades that may or may not be in tension with 4-year colleges, right?
Right.
And certainly here in Evanston, and I have 2 kids in college, that has often been held up as the gold standard, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm part of that. Folks who have held that up for decades.
Yep, and rightly so, right? And so sometimes I wonder, okay, skilled trades, is this an either or? Right? Skilled trades, higher education. Does it have to be an either or? And what I can tell you from my experience teaching students at Northwestern, and to your point, like pretty motivated students who have focused on pretty high achievement. The students who come in with hands-on experience in the skilled trades, whether it's working in machine shops or building cars or doing construction or any skilled trade, they immediately differentiate themselves.
100%.
Immediately.
Not shocked at all.
Yep. So
because you have workshops there. They're actually shops.
We do.
At
in fact,
McCormick, right? Is it Ford?
Yep, in the Ford Design Center. And there's a shop, and many of the people who take my class are actually shop trainers.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of self-selection, but there's also we open the class to everyone in the school, and so we always have some folks who have no idea what they're signing up for, and we meet them where they are too.
Yeah, of course.
Rosabel, when you hear this, what's happening for you? Huh?
I'm like, how can we get our students hands-on? I feel like if we start, I don't know, making them see something happening, I think it might spark their interest. And Even just like the tire competition that we're gonna have at the end of
February.
I just
February.
spilled it? Okay.
It's great. Yeah, we're gonna have
I'm
a
excited
competition,
because I'm
right?
just like, I think that's where it's community's gonna come in, and we're gonna get students who might reach back out to us and be like, hey, this was actually really cool. Is this a career I could pursue? And I think that's amazing. It's amazing.
And back to your grandparent, and at the tire, at our contest, we're going to have intergenerational. We're going to have industry there. And it's about changing a tire and how fast can you change a tire. And you're going to be on teams. It's going to be fun. But you're going to also be connecting with people.
Exactly.
People are going to be watching each other, going to be getting to know each other. And we don't know what's going to come from that. We can't predict what's going to come from that. You could not have predicted at the science industry what was going to come out of that. And that is okay. Yeah. Right? We all have to be kind of okay with that. Well, let's set these things up so the people, and I was kind of like, with this iron pour, what is the outcome? And I'm a very practical person. I just got to know why. I get but what is if you're going to go put resources towards something, there has to be an outcome. That is not just about stars. Sorry. I mean, it can be for some, but
stars are destination.
Man,
nothing against the stars.
Brought us right down.
No, I just want to know,
wow.
where's
Thanks,
the,
Casey
reach for
Kasem.
Can we just get
reach
practical?
to the stars, keep your feet on the
What's
ground.
the
I love
practical?
it. What the heck? Where am I? The practical part.
Okay.
There's a lot of practicality to what you were describing, I think.
Well, I think so.
Yeah. I mean,
Shall we riff on it a little bit? You asked the question. Let's riff on it a little
I
bit.
really.
And then the follow up to that is, how can we do something like that at the high school? How can we get, what do we do already that kind of goes there? And then what can we do to Rosabel's part to spark that interest?
All right. So
You got a match?
Well, here's where you have a match.
Hey, match.
I'll bring a torch.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that for a second.
Well, here's where I'm going to expose Patrick a little bit. He's always playing 4D chess, and he also knows that the last iron pour that we did was at the high school, was at ETHS, right?
Yep.
We the first year we did it on the Northwestern campus, and then we started doing it. Outside the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, now with the stadium rebuild, we lost our spot. And so the high school was generous enough, thank you, to loan us a parking lot for a weekend. And I want to build
They
this
haven't
into
talked to the insurance company yet. Go ahead.
I figure we did it once. We can do it again.
Exactly.
We cleared it all before. We'll clear it again. Yeah.
That's just
Exactly.
asphalt.
So yeah.
How's it look at night? It looks crazy at
We
night.
do it at night.
Yeah, I know.
Of
It looks
course we do it at
crazy,
night.
right?
Yeah. Actually, if folks are interested, I can't give you an exact URL, but we had a student who made a video a couple years ago, and it was published by the Daily, Northwestern Daily. Am I getting it backwards? And so if you Google Northwestern pouring fire, I think was the name of the article, Northwestern pouring fire, there's a good chance you'll find the video. If you throw in iron pour and geometry, you'll probably definitely find it.
Nice.
All right. But you didn't get to my practical question, which was, what are the outcomes that you like to see happen from these things? What is it that you're a teacher, so you want to you need to have an outcome. What's the outcome? What are some practical things that people get from these kind of things?
Yeah. So my answer, all kidding aside, and I'll leave the stars out of it for the moment. The iron pour in this course is not a destination, it's a journey. And it's a process. There are sort of several teaching goals along the way. One of the goals, we start from the very first day, more than any other class at Northwestern, we want this to be a community. We want everyone to get to know each other. We want everyone to understand what everyone else is curious about. We have sort of peripheral assignments like curiosity conversations, where everyone is asked to share with the class 3 or 4 things that they're extremely interested in, unrelated to any of their academics. And then we coach each other on trying to find people in the world who know things about that. And then we coach each other on how to reach out and try to get a 20-minute conversation with that person. And I think this is true of everyone. Like I have my own, people who know me well know I've got my own levels of anxiety and insecurity. But in this day and age, maybe it was because of, pandemic, I don't know, like the comfort level of reaching out to people is a skill that needs to be practiced. So in order to pull off something like an iron pour, you have to collaborate.
Yeah.
You have to. In fact, I brought with me like the stuff that keeps us safe. We have PPE. So these, leather jackets and leather chaps and things that cover our shoes and
You have to wear clothes, Pete.
helmet. You have to wear clothes.
Sorry.
So if I showed up, again, I'm glad I know this in advance.
Really? Boxers? And what's really cool is, to your point earlier, like no one has experience doing this. No one's done an iron pour. Mm-hmm. And so whoever you are, whether you're the rock star, in the class or not, and same thing is true of when groups come together, who are adults, whether you're the CEO of the company or you are the intern, like you put on this gear, everybody looks the same. Everyone is doing something that's outside their comfort zone, and you learn together. And at the end, you feel like you really accomplished something.
I love it.
I
love it. I mean, this curiosity, that's really how do you find your why, right? Yeah. Rosabel, tell me what your trick is in talking to kids. What is the magic that you bring in talking to young people at the high school? And or what are some of the things that you do to be with kids and guide them towards that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is just listening. Just being a listener, just sitting there and active listening, like not even responding, right? And then they tell me a lot about themselves and the careers that they may be interested about. And then they give me their resume and they're like, but I don't have anything to put in my resume so I could get a job in this field. Like, how can I do that? And I was like, you're passionate. Are you taking classes that revolve this? And they're like, yes, I think I'm taking 2. And I was like, that's where the conversation starts. Start talking to your teachers. They probably have connections themselves, right? So I just listen, then respond and try to support them in any way. And when they see that someone is actively listening, they keep coming back.
Can you see an iron pour helping your students?
Yes, I actually want to do it.
Yeah, you do.
Either one of my students.
Yeah, we'll do it with your students.
I'm so interested. I would have taken that class. I would have learned a lot. Yeah.
And so I also share, and I'm interested in everything that you're doing as well.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit more about the programs? I know there's the spring break program.
Yeah.
Tell more, and I know the community would probably love to hear about this as well.
Yeah, of course. So we have IKIT, which is just the title of all the programs we have, but we have 3 separate ones. We have one on campus. So I kind of push professionals at ETHS and different departments to get an intern. And I push them so they could actually be a mentor for the students, build a relationship with the student, but also explore, and they can see back of the scenes of what they do and stuff. So that's for ETHS staff. So ETHS staff, if you got my email, you ignore it, I'm inviting you again to participate next year. Please do it. And then we have IKID Spring Break Job Shadowing program, which is a week long during our spring break. So usually it doesn't correlate to the Northwestern one, which is a reason why we could partner up with a lot of Northwestern people and then the community around here. This year is March 30th to April 3rd. It might change for future years, but it's just a week where they just shadow you, and they might get hands-on experience and they might not, but they might be able to ask questions. So we just want to expose them.
And it's kind of an experimental time.
Exactly.
It's that I don't know if I want to be in the automotive industry. So it's one of those shadows to learn and see how it works.
Check it out, try it on.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Someone was telling me on that, and 2 things I found really interesting, and you can validate or correct me. Number 1 is that the students get paid.
Yes.
And they get paid by the high school? Okay. And the second is that because it's
through the foundation, through the ETHS Foundation, which I'm a part of. So if you don't know that the high school has a foundation, there's a vehicle to support efforts like this.
Okay. And then the other thing, which I just thought from a practical standpoint was like, that's smart. Because it's a school program or school-sponsored program, any employees that want to encourage students to shadow them, they don't have to carry the liability for that. Is that true? Is that not true?
I believe the school carries liability.
Yeah.
That's what I just heard today.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. But it's all of our liability if we don't start getting these kids exposed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're in a need. You were bringing it up earlier. We need our community engaged with us. We need our businesses engaged with our young people to expose them. Otherwise, it ain't happening through finding. This is not the solution to learning.
It's probably the problem.
You know, your iron pour is a great example. All of these toys here are great examples of touching things and asking questions. Every one of the things I already knew the answer. I'm on a podcast. I have to ask these questions. Yeah.
Yeah. And some organizations might be like, a week is not enough. I would want an intern for more days, right? We have that program too in the summer. So it's just about interest, reaching out to ETHS, calling us, and start a conversation.
So if I'm someone in the community with a skill that might be useful to a student, what do I do?
Call ETHS. No, not ETHS. College and Career Services, specifically early college and career experiences. My name is Rosabel. So if you search me up in the directory at ETHS, right, my email will pop up.
Great.
He's kind of organized. Look at him.
Yeah, I feel like he's done this
He's
before.
like a teacher or something.
He's like, hey guys, let's get back to brass tacks. How do you get involved? How do you reach out? The other thing is we're offering a summer school class for the internship for the first time. And we're really looking at creating some case studies and different things for the students so that they're prepared for the internship. So basically on Mondays, they would have their like didactic instructional component. Think case studies, think bringing people in to talk to them, understanding what an internship is, understanding what it isn't, understanding it's an opportunity to network, an opportunity to try things out, ask questions. And then then they go and they have their experience the rest of the week. So that's something we've added this year. Kind of cool, kind of exciting. And we're looking for partners and sort of thought partners in that too. When I'm not on the podcast, I'm the assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction at the high school. But I try to embrace that in this because I'm in learning mode when I'm here. So it's like all this informs what we do.
Pete, we got to wrap up. You got any closing thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of play, I think is really, really important in getting out of your comfort zone. And I think, when we talked about the iron pour, I think that became evident. There's a through line here. And there's a through line that connects directly to Rosie's work with internships and the iKit program and the Shadow, which is also about play and trying something out and getting out of your comfort zone. The nice thing is we have amazing people like Rosie at the high school to help with that. We got amazing people at the Trade Collective to help with that. And evidently, we got people like Matthew over at NU who are inspiring and who do that at the next level. So, right, it's okay to get out of your comfort zone to experience something, right? I mean, that to me is like huge, and to play and to engage in the world around us through curiosity. So I want to thank you.
Thank you.
This was a lot of fun.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah. We part of our
here we go.
Part of our gift of coming is
I thought you guys were gonna say like drink
So-
we're
We're gonna you gotta drink it before you leave. The next 20 minutes is you try to down this.
So this is a gift to you. Hecky's barbecue sauce. Hecky was really important in our community.
Yeah.
And it's just a gift that we give to our guests. Thank you for coming and joining
you.
us. I think understanding the why, understanding how to build curiosity off your phones in real time with real people. As you said, we may have lost that a little bit. So how do we do that again? Thank you for coming in and talking with us about this. We obviously could talk for longer, but we'll lose the attention span of anybody watching. So any closing thoughts as we part here?
I think for me is like just reaching out and having those conversations, even if this means me going to like a meeting and just talking about what we have to offer at ETHS and what our students are looking for. I'm willing to do anything for our students and to get those opportunities for our students. Yeah.
Great. Matthew, what are you thinking about?
Yeah, I think the last thing that I'm thinking about is the idea of how do you start? Because people often say, do what you're passionate about, or follow your passion, the money will come, whatnot. And most people don't know what their passion is. Right? Like we were having a conversation earlier. You went through 5 different things. So I'd throw out the idea that get curious about yourself, because you know yourself better than anybody else does. And if you know, like I love field sports. I love football, soccer, so forth. Like next time you're on the field, like look around and what do you see? I see stadium lights. Like there's someone who has a job putting up stadium lights all around the city. Like that's someone to talk to. And we could go on and on with examples, but get curious about yourself. What environments are you comfortable in, so forth.
Petey went back up towards the stars. Did you see that?
I saw that.
He just kind of he went right back to the stars.
That's where I'm comfortable.
And also for our youth, start asking questions. Sometimes they're like, I don't think they want to talk to me. I'm like, yes, they do. Just ask.
Yeah. I
Ask
think
questions.
adults struggle with that because they're supposed to know everything by a certain age, right?
No.
Asking no, I know, but
We don't expect that from you guys. I promise you guys.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All three of
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for doing this.
Another episode of Fired Up. Here we go.
Hey.
Here we go.
There we go.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Thanks. You like magazines?
Because I like
I like magazines.
That's funny.
Oh my God, that was a lot of fun.